So I'm curious, Dave, if you don't mind sharing a bit of your wisdom with us today. I'm curious how you recommend that folks choose the best journal to submit their work to.
That's a really good question. One thing that's important is to find out who is the audience that you want to reach. In other words, who is going to actually read the journal that you are planning to publish your paper in. It doesn't make any sense to publish a paper in a journal that is speaking to a completely different audience. Another thing is to make sure that you are comfortable with the journal's values, philosophy, methodology. So for example, if you are publishing something that's very qualitative, you would not want to pick a journal that is heavily quantitative. If you are publishing something that is perhaps a little bit more traditional or positivist, you wouldn't want to look at a journal that is explicitly Marxist. It makes sense to align the values of the journal with what your article is. I would say another thing is that students often think, or people who are publishing in journals or aspiring to publish in journals often think that they want to find the best possible journal, at least according to them, or maybe even some of their peers. That can make sense, but I would advise people to not waste their time on a journal with a ridiculously high rejection rate. So if you find that only 10% of the submissions get accepted ultimately, that gives you a very high chance that you are going to spend a lot of time only to have a paper accepted. I think you want to go for those journals which have a more reasonable chance of your paper getting accepted. And perhaps once in a while, shoot for something that has a very high rejection rate. My final thought is that very often these days, people will look at impact factors or other citation scores. These might be important, but in fact, they're not all that useful because most people find articles by their titles and keywords. So it's really good to focus on coming up with the best kind of information about your article in terms of the title and the keyword, and that way it'll be discoverable and it will more likely be cited.
Thanks, Dave. Those are some great tips.